there's been a new case added to the Supreme Court docket for the 2025-2026 term, and it's United States versus Hunter out of the Fifth Circuit. Why is this important? This case deals with appellate waivers and the scope of appellate waivers. Typically, when you negotiate a plea on your federal case, you sign what's called a waiver of appeal, and it greatly limits the rights that you have and the claims that you can bring for the higher court to review. In United States versus Hunter, the Supreme Court is looking at two issues, and that is, what is the scope of the appellate waiver, and is the appellate waiver even valid if the judge at sentencing explains to the client you have the right to file an appeal, and the prosecutor, knowing that there is a waiver, does not object to the judge telling the client that they have this general right to appeal so long as they do a notice of appeal. And in Hunter, there was a condition imposed on the case that had to do with medication. And there was a waiver of appeal, and the client still went ahead and appealed the sentence that was imposed. And the Fifth Circuit upheld the conviction and struck down the appeal on the basis that there was an appellate waiver. So the Supreme Court is now looking at what is the scope of the waivers, and is the waiver even valid if at sentencing the government does not object to the judge telling the client that they have this right to appeal, knowing that there is a waiver as part of the plea agreement. So there is a circuit split now, and the 5th, 6th, 10th, and 11th Circuit use a very narrow definition of what can you bring up on appeal if you have an appellate waiver. Everywhere else, it's more broad, it's more general, and there's a circuit split as to what issues survive the appellate waiver. So what the court will be looking at is reconciling the circuit split and deciding how far do the appellate waivers go, and are they even valid if there has not been an objection from the prosecutor. So if you've had a waiver of appeal as part of your plea, or if your loved one had a plea with a waiver, it's very important to watch what the court does with Hunter